Hello everybody, James here. Now, unlike other videos where I say this will be a quick one and then it's actually 20 minutes, this will actually be a quick video. So, I've been following Ricky Starks' story with great interest from AEW to WWE for the past year. And then last week, Ricky debuted in WWE, or more specifically, NXT, a day or two after Tony Khan granted him an early release from his AEW contract. Now, during his brief promo, he never uttered his name, neither did the commentators, neither did any of the social media. And then on yesterday's NXT, he signed a contract and declared to the world he was no longer Ricky Starks. He was, in fact,
Ricky Saints is
So he's Ricky Saints, and I don't particularly dislike the name, but I also don't particularly love it either. It's almost like a lateral move, quite frankly, which begs the question why he had to change his name in the first place, and that got me thinking about Penta. So he also recently left AEW, but as soon as he signed to the WWE, he got weeks of vignettes on WWE Raw hyping his imminent debut, and then they've given him a main roster contract, and then there's tons of Penta merchandise ready to go before he ever stepped foot in a WWE ring. But here's the thing, he got to keep his name, he got to keep his presentation. Ricky Starks, however, now I understand why he doesn't have all the vignettes, of course, because he was rushed onto WWE NXT TV to capitalise on the shock value of seeing the guy who has basically been complaining about being held hostage by AEW for a whole year finally escape. But then within a week, they have given Ricky Starks a new name. So explaining the name change to Busted Open Radio, the newly christened Ricky Starks said the following: "It's as close as you're going to get to Starks. I like the name. I know a lot of people are going to be. It's going to take time for them to get used to it. I respect that they care so deeply about me that they rebel against the name change. Obviously, I think it's cool to have a piece of home with me, and the person doesn't change. I'm still that guy, so it is what it is." And it's those two words, actually. So Ricky Saints now describes it as close as you're going to get to Starks, and then he says it is what it is. So obviously this wasn't Ricky's idea, this was WWE's. Now, Ethan Page, a few months ago when he debuted, he left AEW and got to WWE, he was allowed to keep his name. And then Penta and his entire presentation was allowed to keep his. Now, my worry is that WWE or Triple H or Shawn Michaels or whoever it may be in creative doesn't see Ricky Starks at the same level as Ethan Page, let alone Penta, and therefore they want to sort of break Ricky Starks down and remake Ricky Saints in WWE's own image. Now, I think it's a bit of a sad state of affairs that you don't see him on the same level, maybe, or maybe they just don't like the name, I don't know, as Ethan Page, and definitely not Penta. But also, it's not necessarily a bad thing for Ricky. In fact, it could actually be the opposite, because Vince McMahon, for decades, famously showed disdain for characters that came from outside entities, maybe from the 90s onwards, not the 80s because it's still the territory days and he was just pinching wrestlers. Let's say pinching, he was offering them better contracts or better money or just a better opportunity, pal. And then, you know, Vince McMahon would show disdain for these characters. They come from outside entities, and what he would want to do is mould incoming wrestlers into a unique WWE creation. And if they refused to, or if they just came in as they were, they didn't really seem to last. But I think Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and the rest of the creative WWE bigwigs might have carried that thought process with them, and Ricky Saints is right to go along with it, because I was thinking, what if Kevin Owens had fought to keep his surname and he was Kevin Steen? Would WWE have got behind him so strongly, at least in the, you know, maybe not immediately initially, but, you know, in the years since? Or maybe Tyler Black if he refused to change his name to Seth Rollins, or Bron Breakker instead of being Bronson Rechsteiner, which is a terrible example because Bronson Rechsteiner is a million times better of a name, but be that as it may, maybe WWE wouldn't have got behind him if he used his real name. But the point I'm trying to make is this. A lot of people in WWE these days are keeping their names. And I think the Ricky Starks to Ricky Saints change is pretty pointless. Once again, it's a lateral move at best, really. Ricky said himself, it's the closest thing to Starks, so why are you changing your name to the closest thing to... Anyway, but it could end up really... but Ricky's doing the best thing here. He's just sucking it up, putting a positive spin on it, and it could be the best thing to ever happen to him. If it makes the right people in WWE feel more connected to his character and performance, it can only give Ricky Saints more of a chance to make it to the WWE main roster in the future. So, thank you for listening. Like, subscribe, comment, etc. Good day.